We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes because I ran out of breath of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep. And today we're back. We're back. We're covering The Walking Dead. We haven't done that since September. Yeah, that checks out. But no, October. I just did a clip for the Walking Dead season 10, episode 16. And it's weird because we're kind of rusty. We're breaking all our own rules and none of you know about it because it's all behind the scenes. However, Rachel doesn't know it yet until the day of, but I made new music for the intro. So you're gonna hear it on the. I'll send it to you after the show. But I hope you enjoyed the new musical intro, and I hope I hope you noticed the new video intro, which is reminiscent of the season 9 intro. I revisited that intro for you audio podcast people. The visual is going to be lost on you, but if you head over our YouTube channel, Facebook channel, our Twitch channel, and Periscope, you'll see the beginner, the opener, and it's reminiscent of season 9, our season 9 opener, which I tooled around with. I used the same physics and logic, and I just tweaked some things around color-wise, clips-wise. It was kind of like a combination of the comics and the TV show, because we were still kind of thinking in that mode. Carol was doing the comic book recaps. I was doing it from my perspective, the show, and so I made that meet somewhere in the middle, or more on the TV side, but somewhere in the middle. And so that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that one of the promo openers in a small window whizzing by left and right, and you've got 3 distinct clips from the comic books. And I tweaked the logo and I tweaked the colors, so enjoy that. I might even put that up on Coffee tonight because I've done that. And I may re-upload the music with the intro for you guys to keep on coffee.com/squawkingdead. What is that? Well, it's a means for you to listen, first of all, to get the unedited episodes when they're done. Okay? When we're done recording, you get them right away. But join us in the conversation like Rebecca Punch and Sharon D have, Blazy Gardner. So get on that. Buy us a coffee, you get access to 30 days. If you subscribe to a coffee a month, party keeps on rolling. It's the only way to get our supported back content. You can head over to squawkingdead.com, click the little coffee button on the top, and there's also one on the bottom left. We've reformatted our website. There's a little donation place. So you head over to coffee.com, ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. You follow us there. You don't have to buy us shit. Just follow us.
It feels great. Great.
I've got a little bit of the weirdness, though. I have to admit. There's a little weirdness in my mind.
Where's that coming from?
I think I'm still traumatized from a couple months ago. The 2 episodes a week, trying to cover that. So coming into this, I still had those feelings. I got to record this episode. Then I have to edit it. Then I have to release it the next day. And then, I got to get the notes for the next one. And then record them the next day. And then edit that and bring it out. And then no time for blogs. No time for clips. No time for promo. That's to be expected. Me and Trauma have a good relationship. It's the other part of it. It's like the weird having The Walking Dead back. And this is going to be relevant to how we're covering this because it seems like the cast was very conscious of the fact that like people are going to feel cut off from the last moment that we saw in 1016. We're moving into 1017, but it doesn't feel like 1017, right? Yeah. So they made specific They did their best effort to kind of remind you where we left off. And we started right where we left off, evidenced by, Maggie killing that Whisperer come Guardian right in the beginning, right?
Yep.
You noticed that? Okay, good.
Yep. Though I called him the Walker Whisperer.
I called him the last of the Guardians, I think. I think that's what I called him.
Was he the Endling Guardian?
The Endling Guardian. Lelton. Lelton writes in his notebook, yep, that's the last one.
Check.
That's the Endling Whisperer / Guardian. What's the Ass Guardian?
The Ass Guardian?
Oh, okay. We're bringing in the MCU.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Asgardian.
Well, that's over with. Last Ass Guardian. Look, you can only do so much. IMHO, you can only do so much. So they did kind of make a concerted effort to make us feel like, okay, this episode's not far from the last one. We're still here. We haven't moved in time. We didn't lose half our cast or most of our cast. No, they're all there somewhere.
I really loved how they did it. I liked hearing Lydia's voice kind of explaining, what we've already seen and where we're at and all of that. I even made a comment to Sharon when we were watching it last night. Like, I don't remember another episode on The Walking Dead with that sort of like voiceover introduction about what's been going on. Am I wrong? I can't think of one.
Give me a sec. What's interesting about what you just said is that I was going to say, no,
Right. But
But you know why I said that? Because over the last, I want to say year, maybe year plus. No, of course I'm using time wrong. For the last season and then some of season 9, they dropped the previously on The Walking Dead. No, it was cast members. So that's why my instinct was like, no.
right,
We've
but it
heard
was
before.
just previously on, and then they'd show some clips. Right.
Right. And then
But this
this was
was
like
like-
a little bit of build up. Literally, this is what happened on The Walking Dead last. Yeah.
Right. Pay attention.
It's a cool touch. It's nice and incremental. You barely noticed it if you. I mean, like it felt like it was very natural. Like you wouldn't even think to comment on it, but literally for the last 8 years, about 8 years, that's how it was. And you know what's funny about the pandemic too? Now that I'm thinking about it, we're in season 10, and it's been. I mean, like it's bordering on 11 years of The Walking Dead, right? It's like 10 and a half, and we're still in season 10, right? So there's this, now we're almost askew, but I think that's why they want to broadcast in the summer, so they can be like, 11th year, we made it, 11th year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whew. Oh,
We did it.
almost had a
We did
lapse. Whew. COVID. if we have a lapse, the terrorists win. Like the COVID wins.
Right. Yeah. COVID wins. Yeah. It's destroying everything.
I'm not mad or anything. I'm not mad. But there's a weird thing. Okay, do you remember how we described, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but like they were like almost deflated when we saw Carl die. Like it's not as though we didn't mourn his loss as a character, right? Not as a real person because he's still alive.
He's still very.
Barely.
Thank you. Now that's stuck in
He
my
seems
head.
to get hurt all the time. Chandler Riggs. But
Right.
this death keeps going. When are you going to be dead? I don't know. Anyway, so I felt kind of like that about seeing, Herschel Ree, sorry.
Really?
I liked it when I first saw it, and I was like, cool. But I wasn't losing my, I don't know. This is why I'm here. This is why we do this thing, right? Because I'm like, tell me why I felt that way, because I don't know why. I think maybe it's the pandemic. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I'm the person that they were going for. Like, I gave them the reaction they wanted. They showed baby Herschel looking just like Glenn, and I cried my face off. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, no, they did. I did exactly what they thought I would do.
That's funny. And Rebecca Punch is saying, me too, and I'm not a parent. Sharon D says, baby Glenn, do, 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 do. Yeah. But you love it. You do.
It's going to be stuck in my head.
Honestly, I think it might be like partially a pandemic, partially like the hype was there for so long. I think too.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe you'd seen like enough promo photos, like finally
like,
when he was on screen,
months
you were
in
like,
advance.
there you are, got you.
Yeah. I mean, some of the things were kind of cute, like the throwing the acorn on top of his mom's head and going, "Hey, mom, hey there." Like, I don't hate him. That's the thing. I don't hate him at all. I'm just like, okay,
So
it's cool.
Seeing him wasn't super emotional, but
okay.
Did you feel anything at the end when you watched him walk past Negan? That was heartbreaking.
I think I understand that. I do. I think I was more tense at the moment, like overall, like seeing Maggie breeze past Negan.
Yeah, and Herschel doesn't know who Negan is. Like, he could look him dead in the face and not know who he is. I'm like, oh, that just made my guts churn.
And you know what? Maybe it's time and distance too, because we're verging into season 11 territory, and that was season 9. That's like, and look, I might not be alone. I don't know. I probably am. But I think it's the whole thing where like, oh, to me, Glenn died 8 years ago. Or sorry, let me do this timeline right. Yeah, like 7.5, 8 years ago. To me, that's how it felt like. Because they did such a really good job. I mean, maybe it's over the last 2 years, maybe 3 now because of COVID, of like giving us the breadth of time, right? Like technically in the show world, in chronology, the show is like, I think 8 years from Glenn's death. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So that feels like, look, it doesn't feel like forever ago for Maggie. And I felt that, definitely felt that. But for the last 8 years, Herschel doesn't know from that. Herschel wasn't there. He was told, but he wasn't there. Mm-hmm. I don't know that he got the gory details. I don't know how he's going to feel about it too, which is a great thing. Like, I'm sacrificing the emotional impact of seeing Herschel Ree like in favor of this awesome thing of feeling the span of time. So that's how I'm scoring that circle. And I feel better about it now. Like, I'm not an emotionless monster, apparently. I guess not. So this is Rebecca Punch. Something that really got me for some reason was her telling about how she took him to her grandmother's beach house. I know how to read.
Yeah, that was really sweet.
Mentioning Bethy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I felt that. I don't know what it is. I feel it when Maggie does it a little bit. Like every now and again she'll hit something and I'll be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm feeling that.
You know her more than Herschel right now. You know? You're closer to her as a character.
I was thinking that was the other thing. I don't know this kid.
Yeah.
And apparently, like in the comic books later on in life, he's just quite the shitbag, too.
Yeah, he is.
I hear.
Yeah, Sharon Day's saying that Negan needs to start sleeping with at least one eye open.
But there was a break between
yeah.
like, and then at least one eye open, which makes me think, Glenn. He has to sleep with one eye out. Thank you for helping me figure that one out because I didn't really know why. I want to get the obvious shit out of the way because we have to start getting to theories because that's going to take all night.
I like Cole. Just going to put it out there. I like him.
Yes,
I like
I'm
this
into
guy.
him. James Devati.
The first thing that I notice about Cole is how much he resembles Jesus from the comic books.
Interesting. Okay.
I have a few theories just based on that. Nothing else. Well, in the comic books, Aaron and Jesus are a couple. And obviously, since Jesus is gone now, maybe Cole will fill that role.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I haven't thought of that. Very cool. The other side of that coin, people have been saying on the internets, chip, 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 on Twitter, usually.
Oh, the internet.
Is the replacement Dante theory.
Okay, see, I had a different idea for the replacement Dante.
Okay, pause on that and then go into it right after I'm done with this, because the only thing that, let's say, I'm not sold on the replacement Dante thing so much. I'm like, maybe not. The show does do this every now and again where it does replace one character with the traits of another, or the traits of one character places them in another. The resemblance to comic book Rick for Aaron and stuff like that. And yeah, and even just people doing things like Henry was doing things that Carl would do, etc., etc. So it's not far-fetched to think that, you know, Cole's Maggie's right-hand man. It could be a replacement Dante. Then he says one thing in the episode right before they start killing the container park walkers. He goes, "No sweat" to Kelly, and she's like, and is her name Kelly? Yeah, Kelly on the show, like Angel Theories. And she just rolls her eyes visibly. She goes, "Arr," and then they go in, and at the end of that whole spree, he goes, "Okay, maybe a little sweat." And that made me go,
him. Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting you here. You're here. Yep. You got one tick in the Dante category. The one thing the show can do, interestingly, is make us think that it's the Dante replacement and then kill him again. Because
that would be so them.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You can't have Dante the first time. No. You can't have Dante the second time. There is no Dante. There's no replacement Dante. The Dante is a lie.
Gosh. I agree with Rebecca. I don't see Cole and Maggie at all, and I don't see that. Honestly, there was nothing more to my theory of Cole and Aaron other than how much Cole resembles Jesus from the comic books. That's it. That was my only thread. But as far as replacing Dante, now Charity's probably going to disagree with me. She already knows what I'm going to say. I thought Elijah was eyeing Maggie up pretty hard.
Oh, but I saw that more as like a motherly figure. Then again, there's the Oedipus complex. But you didn't see that as more, you saw that more of as in like a love interest sort of thing?
I don't know yet. I just saw, what I saw was something to pay close attention to. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I felt deep separation anxiety. Yeah,
he like panicked when she went away. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, panic mode. Right. Yeah. Which, you know, if you think about it, like, okay, if you're a romantic sort of couple, you don't go doing that as soon as your partner, well, though I might do that after this COVID thing is over. Like, I'll be like, Evelyn, don't go to school. I'll miss you too much. No, seriously, I feel like that sometimes. But I don't know, do you feel that way?
Eric's the only one that leaves our house.
Oh, really? So, regularly?
Yeah.
Oh,
I work from home. Silas does school at home. If I have to go do some running around, I will. But I'll go weeks without leaving my house.
Yeah, me too. But like Evelyn and I are here. So it's kind of this weird feeling like, okay, we're not very codependent people at all. But like after a while, like there is going to be this weird separation anxiety. Like, oh, I'm not used to this. I don't like this at all. Mm-hmm. Biology counts. Biology matters. Ugh, I don't want my oxytocin to leave me.
Yeah, it looks like Sharon D and Rebecca are both shipping Kelly and Elijah. Hashtag Kellijah.
Yeah, I'm into it. I love the hashtag. Rebecca Punch said something very interesting. Kelly is gay. That's how I feel. And I'm like, I don't know, because it's not unusual at all. If you've ever watched the Hallmark Channel, it's not unusual for gay actors to play straight, hetero.
Hello, look at MPH playing
characters.
Barney Stinson.
Yeah, I know. It's very strange. And so it's not at all inconceivable that Kelly on the show, the character, could be could be hetero. So, I mean, and she's saying, so Rebecca Munch is saying she has super gay vibes, though. I'm like, what? Maybe? What do you think, though?
It's hard.
I just didn't want to assume, that's all.
Right. Well, it's hard to gauge because, I mean, I know Angel's theory, and so it's hard not to take this person and put her into the character. So it is hard to separate. So I don't know. I have not seen indications this way or that.
Okay. So
throw the thruple in there.
Right. So Sharon D says, Blazy Gardner, she could be bi, so kill I Jaggy. Right. Maggie, Kelly, and Elijah.
Kalai
Interesting. I don't want to say the first polyamorous relationship because there was that show one time, polyamory, but on a fictional television show, yeah, sure, why not? I'm into it. I support polyamory wholeheartedly.
Walking Dead Maggie on TV is nothing like comic book Maggie, so I would not be surprised if they did not give her a love interest at all on TV.
Yeah, and on that note, I'll say this much, going back to Kelly, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't treat Kelly and Maggie as the same way they treat Daryl, right? Like, this guy's never going to have a relationship, period. If you really, really want to know game theory, like, really, really want to know game theory, we've talked about this many times over the years, how to hook the ladies or whatever, the guys too, guys are into Daryl too, I guess, but like, the idea of he and Carol as the possible couple, right? The couple, Carol is endgame, that whole thing. It's pulling that slot machine. It's like pulling that arm, right? It's like you think you're gonna win, you think you're right. You're like, the next one's gonna be it, the next episode's gonna be where they get together finally. And people keep tuning in. And here's the thing. Over the last couple weeks, there was a thing where they released a table read for Leah. Leah comes on, and all the Carol contingent loses their collective fucking shit, right? Have you seen this?
I have not seen it, but I've heard about it. I don't wanna go look.
We have to talk about it now. Okay, and I'm going to do my best. I'm actually going to give arguments to support #Carol.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Because I have to take the other side of this despair that this contingent's feeling. I mean, I need to fill in the gap to make them feel better. Okay? Because I feel it. I feel it coming off them as much as it annoys me. Like, I feel it. And so I'm not a monster. I figured it out. So a lot of what they're saying is, how dare he have a love interest? I'm so disappointed in Daryl. And it's not even the dialogue per se, but it was some of the production photos that were released of he and Leah on the back of a flatbed or something, like just some sort of platform of some kind, looking up at the stars or at the sky or something like that. And it looks very intimate, whatever it is. And all they can feel is like, how dare he, despair, I thought they were together, blah, blah, blah. Like, you and me both know, right? We're on the same page. We've been on the same page for the longest time, since the beginning.
I think so.
There's been no real evidence that they've ever been together. You can make hypotheses that maybe it was off screen, like people going to the bathroom. We don't see it, except for Morgan, Fear the Walking Dead season 4. However, none of them go to the bathroom. and Daryl and Carol have not had a relationship of any kind. And
she's given him at least 2 chances, and he's turned her down.
I think it was the hospital, and even before that, you want to go fool around?
Well, yeah, she asked him flat out if he wanted to fool around, and then the second time was when they were at the women's shelter.
Yeah, it was the women's shelter. I keep saying the hospital, but it's the women's shelter. Right. What are your feelings about what I've said just now?
If Daryl's going to hook up with anybody, I think it would make sense that it would be Leah, because he doesn't have to live with her. I mean,
kick her out of bed the next day.
Well, okay, imagine he and Carol do spark up some sort of romance and then it doesn't work out. How awkward.
Right.
If he's just trying to be a dude and like getting some, I mean, why not, right?
Right.
And it's not going to be
This is something I've said before too,
back
right?
at home.
Like, sometimes you just need a fresh start, you need a clean slate, which is kind of what we've been saying, just as throwing it out there again, not shipping anybody. I don't.
Right, no.
I'm not interested in that. It's not for me. If it happens, it happens. Cool, that's the show. But, we've said comments about this similar to Connie. It's a fresh start. You get to work from scratch. You get to build something, from its start, rather than like, oh, we're friends and then, let's hook up now. That's, what I mean? Like, the goods, they have too many goods on each other, Carol and Daryl. Not that I wouldn't support it. I would, sure. Why not? I mean,
I'd be all for it, but I'm not pushing for it either.
Right. If they could figure it, it's like the Madison coming back, which we're not going to go into, but like, At this point, you have to do it really, really well to make it happen, right? Same thing with Carol and Daryl. You have to be very, very careful of how you're going to do it. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, best ship out there. Which one is the best ship out there?
Doggle. Hashtag Doggle is the best ship out there. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't think I've reached the point where I've accepted bestiality, though I'm very libertarian minded. Like, if you want to do it, have at it. I don't care. As long as it's not somebody else's dog, you know what I mean? Like, it's your dog, go for it. Anyways, let's back off.
How do you get consent? No, not even going there. Anyway.
If you give them doggy treats, they can consent. Anyway, so let's cut it out. Cut this. Cut it. Edit.
Hashtag cancel Squawking Dad.
Yeah. Sorry. They support bestiality. Also, mistreatment of animals. Sharon D said something very important. I want to start there. She says, just ask Ezekiel. Okay, did everybody forget that, again, breadth of time? Did everybody forget how long Carol and Ezekiel were together? Did everybody think Daryl was fucking her for 6 years? Yeah, wait, hold on a second. Let's back up, because they were together for 6 years. He gave her the ring in season 9, right? But that doesn't mean they weren't together, building something together, being the queen that she was, and then eventually getting to season 10, which is months later, after the events of season 9. And, you know, Henry's their son, etc., blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So there was all this time where Carol has been with Ezekiel. So you had your chance to rage. And maybe they did. The end of season 9 rolled around. They broke up, sort of, whatever it was. It was weirdly unclear, but whatever. They must have come on board again. No, they were there the whole time. These Carol people were there the whole time. So there's that. Is it the fact that, okay, and maybe you can clear this up for me. Is it the fact that they have their chance now and Daryl's ruining it?
No, I don't think anybody's ruining it. I think people
or did they just forget?
Crazy. People are just crazy. They want this character and this character to get together, and they don't care about anything else. That's all they care about. They just want this one with this one, and if it doesn't happen, they're going to be mad until it does.
Right. And I get that, but like I try to give some sort of rationale to it, right? You know, like it can't just be, right? Can it just be this irrational, like, oh, we've been waiting for so long, they have to do it? Like, well, no, they don't have to do anything, right?
Right. Why do they have to?
Yeah, like I'm trying to figure out how because usually when people are that mad is when they feel promised something, right? If the show is saying, oh, they'll eventually be together. Okay, let me, okay, I know what it is. It's this one little thing that Daryl said between, I don't know, the TW 1016, episode 1016, and like just a couple weeks ago, he said, oh, I would love it if Daryl and Carol got together. That was the stupidest thing to ever have to say.
Norman said it?
Norman Reedus said it. In one of these interviews, and you know, the SD, like all these, like those comic book at home, whatever, all these things. And then like the Carol contingent goes, yes, it's happening. It's about to happen. It's like, oh, wow. I mean, I think they both would like that to happen because they really like working with each other.
Right.
But it has nothing to do with, you know, and then there's the other half of that, which is, okay, that's crazy enough. And I don't want to disparage anybody. Like, I don't want to disparage people's hopes and desires for this to happen. Don't get me wrong. Really don't get me wrong. But the show doesn't owe you anything. The writers never promised you anything. The actor says, it would be great. It's just like when an actor says, like, let's say, well, Rick got a chance to play the bad guy, but you know, like an actor that plays like Superman, right? Like, I don't know, Christopher Reeve, who happens to be dead. If he says, oh, I'd love to play a bad guy, and then he did in Superman 3, like, it's that desire to finally play a bad guy, after being typecast as playing good guys. Like, after having this asexual relationship between each other for so long, sure, you'd like to knock boots and try something new. But I think that's what made people go crazy, is this comment, and then they just latched onto it, and then they pulled back when they saw Leah and Daryl in that photo. Mm-hmm. And so, oh God, they were going crazy. Look, some of them were just heartbroken. And that, like, I don't want to call anybody out, but I had a private conversation with one of them, and I was just like saying, I get that. I totally get that. I get how people must feel when they felt like the slot machine. I didn't say it out loud, but like the slot machine effect. Like, you know, you just keep pulling that thing and hoping you get the jackpot and it never comes, but you keep doing it because it's the excitement. Each pull is more exciting than the last, you know? Like, it's gonna be my time. So they keep doing it.
See, I don't get that feeling. I feel like the more you want something, the less likely it's going to happen. So if you just sit back and you're like, yeah, that'd be cool, then it might actually happen.
You know what that's called? Depression.
Really?
Yeah, literally.
life.
That's the definition of impression of knowing that no matter what you do, you'll never get it. That's depression.
Well, no.
That's like the start. That's
maybe.
the starting point. All this other stuff after that, that's where you start getting into nitty gritty.
I might be in trouble then.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, I might not be. But anyway, what do you think Daryl's been doing for the last 6 years? 6 or 7 years at this point. We never really got there. We never really figured it out. All we knew is that after Rick died, he went looking out for him. He left the communities. They knew that he was in the area, but he never came back, really. He was on his own with Dog. Now, here's the thing. One thing we do know is that we're going to jump back in time. We're going to see Puppy Dog. Puppy Dog. Dog is a puppy.
That's so cute.
And he's going to be called Dog. So that's very confusing. So, and what I was going to say was, what if Leah was somebody he met in the past? Now, that's not clear. What's more clear is that he sees her in the present. I'm not sure. But what if he did see her in the past? Because obviously, Dog is in the past. He meets Dog. They end up being together for a long time. So this could have happened all in the while that the Pike scene is post-time jump. So that's all that time. What happened all that time, right? He could have had a love interest in between now and then. You know, all the while Carol and Ezekiel were together.
I just assumed he was living in the woods, you know, maybe visiting the settlements to check in every now and then, because like you said, they knew he was out there. Like nobody was worried about him, so they had to have seen him occasionally just to check in, maybe. But yeah, I just kind of figured he was living in the woods looking for Rick, which
is apparent if you pay attention too. Like just like Michonne, you know, for many years going out there, being disappointed, finding little things that remind him of Rick, remind her of Rick, but you know, coming up short. It's the same with Daryl. So Sharon D says Tone Deaf AMC posted a promo for that episode right after the leak. And oh my God, the comments were so entertaining. Oh my God, Sharon, you're such a monster. Rebecca Budge says something very interesting. Is if the stakes are lower, you're more okay with the results. Exactly. If the stakes are higher, woo, high risk, high reward, but higher chance of disappointment. Unless you pull that slot, Rebecca Bunch still. Daryl can get with whoever or no one. I have 100% chance of being happy with the storyline. His storyline. Exactly. And this is why I brought this up with Kelly. Because, you know, match or no match, ship or no ship. I mean, all I care about is where is this going? You know, is there a hero's journey of some kind? Is there a narrative? Does it make sense? Does it make sense within the span of the story? Because I'm a story guy. I'm not really a people guy. I like character development, but like only in as much as if you ever read Tolkien, like Lord of the Rings, people will say, I love character development. I love character development. Oh, character development's the shit. Like, I agree. However, if your whole book is about character development and there's no motivation, like you've built in the motivation, but their characters aren't moving, then your book's a stinker. It's a fucking history book. There's nothing to it. So like, okay, you can build up these characters, you can have these ships, but if it doesn't do anything for you story-wise, well, what's the fucking point? Oh, no, we want story and the character development. Like, no, you can't have both. Popular audiences only have so much bandwidth, okay? You either choose one or the other. Sacrifice one, you sacrifice the other. Sorry, that's how it goes. I don't know. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like with Kelly and anyway, Maggie, Elijah, and Kelly. Like, if they get together, great. But I hope it goes somewhere. And Carol and Daryl, great. But I hope it goes somewhere. I hope it makes the story pop.
I just want them to always be friends. That would be the only thing that would break my heart, is if they stop being friends.
And you know, that's the other interesting thing about this other side of the coin, is that Carol and Daryl, I cannot even see the possibility of romance. There is this other side of the coin where, like, okay, we've got you, Carol and Darylers, shippers, Carol shippers. We got you by the balls. Now let's get these other people by the balls. We want to get everybody by the balls. Everybody has balls in this scenario. Where, like, now we're going to test your faith, because it was one thing when people were saying Carol and Daryl are a love interest. But now we know that they're friends. How are you going to feel when we test their friendship?
Best. Yeah.
Right. How are you going to feel now? So now they're just trying to fuck everybody, right?
It break my heart.
One thing in the tick in their corner is that if they are doing this, they're doing this pretty cleverly, because, okay, most of the time I see shit like this whole will they, won't they thing. It's usually like a yo-yo, man. It's like it's like, yes, they're back. Oh, shit. This here, it's more like, it's like right in the middle. It's like, for the audio listeners, what that means is it's like you ever see a lie detector or polygraph? You're kind of telling the truth. It's a little wavy line in the middle. No, but that's the fine line they're dancing between Are they still friends? Are they not still friends? It's not wild. It's not making me go crazy. It's right in the right place that we need. Obviously, there are consequences to actions. Obviously. But obviously they love each other. Obviously. That's where we are. Charity's like grunting sweet nothings to himself. I just had to say that.
Yeah.
There is a third thing. Now, this is where we get to the carolers and giving them some hope. Is the fact that it's possible that all of this Leah stuff happened in the past during Ezekiel and Carol's relationship, their practical wedding, marriage. They were married, which is why like them not being together is not a small thing. So, why are you so mad? Let's stop being mad. Let Daryl have a life.
So,
like, hasn't he paid
was anybody
enough?
mad at Carol for that? Like, is all the heat going towards Daryl in this
Everybody's
scenario?
Because all they saw was Daryl with Leah. So they didn't even think about like putting any of this on Carol. First of all,
I mean, I don't
her
want
being the one.
Carol to take the heat, but I'm saying, there's two people involved here. But yeah, it's like Luther and Alice on Umbrella Academy.
I did notice that. I did notice that there was a distinct anger towards Norman Reedus, not just Daryl Dixon. Norman Reedus.
Oh
like
my God.
To the point of like cancel Norman Reedus. Seriously, cancel Norman Reedus.
Why are people so awful?
Hold please, because another thing happened that made this 10, maybe 100 times worse. And that's the whole Marilyn Manson thing. Okay, Westworld. We don't have to get into it, but like the whole Marilyn Manson association, they're good friends, etc. And this relationship that happened between he and Marilyn Manson and
Evan Rachel Wood.
It's a terrible, terrible confluence of events. Like, it's not as if he did the thing, but now just by association and the timing of the events. And again, I'm not making a judgment call either way on that side of thing. There's nothing for us to talk about. It's not.
Yeah, that's not even related. A topic we need to touch.
Exactly.
At all.
I'm not. And that's so just the timing of all of that happening, or in and around the same time, because it was talked about before. She's said things way before.
Oh yes.
And nobody was listening.
Unfortunately.
And again, we're not talking about it. Seems like we're talking about it, right?
Yeah.
But,
we're not talking about it.
But moving on. Yeah, we're not talking about it. So like having that happening around the same time. And again, like this is the beauty of Norman Reedus. For first of all, is he's so oblivious to this stuff. It's like, and I have to give him credit because the one thing I say to people about when they get heat about anything is let them talk. Just let them burn themselves out and move on with your day. Because I mean, and this applies to us too. Like people have wanted to cancel us for that let's eat kids thing. Except the white kids. Apparently all the white kids were the ones we wanted to eat. So what's the deal?
Right?
And so anyway.
Just the loud, stupid ones. I still don't see what was wrong with that.
AKA all of them, right? Even Judith.
Except
right?
Judith. No.
Oh.
Judith is the exception.
No, except Judith, right?
Yeah. Except Judith. I mean, now. Judith, when she was a baby, yeah, I didn't fright her right up.
The worst. Why didn't they kill her? God. Anyway, so but that's the thing, like, so when we were canceled, look, you could either choose one of many paths. Like, okay, you can double down and go, thank you. You can do the whole like, which is what I did, was like just humorously like have a conversation with somebody, not caring about like just going with it. It's like, yeah, oh, and do you have kids too? I'd like to eat them, that sort of thing, like I'm sure they're delicious, things like that, right? And there we go. Sharon, baby Glenn, chew, 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 chew. Exactly. Chew on Glenn.
Oh my God.
Chew on Herschel. Herschel's not excluded. In fact, if things go like they do in the comics, yeah, I'm down for that. So he's a little older than we usually like him, but they're better in baby form. That's the thing. You can wave it off, move on with your day, say nothing, and just ignore it. Mute them, move on. And I think that's how Norman did it. Like he just kind of moved on with his day. It has nothing to do with him. The Leah thing also has nothing to do with him. It's not like he had a choice.
He didn't write it.
And even if he did, how much... Okay, Norman does have leeway. Norman wanted something done, but no, Norman is a go-with-the-flow kind of guy. Norman really doesn't... He might make some creative decisions here and there, but other than that, guy eats this script up.
Well, he probably knows what's important to the storyline, too. He knows more about the show than we do, so...
Yeah, it's like, wouldn't it be funny if, like, he knew at the end of everything, is like, what if he was told, like, in season 3, I'll say, oh, you guys are going to definitely end up being together, but watch how everybody's going to get fucked up about it.
What if they've been telling him that every year since season 3 and it just hasn't happened? They're like, this is gonna be your year, man. oh wait, no, next year, next season's your year, man.
Next year, yeah, it's not the right time. It's not. Well, no, we haven't by the
not
balls. We
working
have the right one. And what if? Okay, so what we're saying essentially is Robert Kirkman and Scott Gimple are like elbowing each other, going, let's fuck with the cast too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's coming back. Yeah. Oh, we got him. What's the actor's name? I don't know. Anyway, he's coming back next year. Oh, I can't wait for you guys to work together. Well, again. I mean, most of the cast is gone, but I can't wait for you to work with them again.
Oh my gosh. And you have to believe them too. You have to believe them because they do that sometimes. They brought Morales back, so it's totally possible. So you have to believe them when they say that.
That's so funny. It's like bringing, okay. It's like bringing Morales back. No offense to Juan G. Pareja. Okay, nothing against background actors, period. Like, that's like bringing a background actor to a con. Like, nobody wants to really... I mean, the people that really love the background actors, of course you want to see
I was going to say,
actors.
I'm pretty sure that's us, dude.
No, but the vast audience... Okay, we're talking about the mass audience is like, I don't... no, I want to see Norman. Like, I want to see Jeffrey D. Moore. Like, they're not waiting in lines.
Any of them.
That's you and me.
Yeah.
But like most people can be like, Norman, like, you know, like put it in my mouth. That whole thing, you know, like that's right. It's
You're not
but
wrong. Somebody bit him.
I'm not wrong, even though it's
bitten.
vulgar.
Yeah. Norman was bit at a con.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a controversy. He rolled with that pretty well though.
People are insane.
Yeah. And I'm not even talking about those people. I'm talking about just most people. Be like, yeah, I'm not waiting in line for like shitty Jared, you know? And even him, like, and he's not a background actor, but they don't want to wait in line for shitty Jared. Like, Josh Michael.
I would wait in a 4-hour line to meet Brianna Venskis.
Of course he would. I don't blame you.
I
She's
would.
insane. I love her. So messing with them is just the cream of the crop. Like, there's nobody that's safe from Gimple and Kirkman. Period. And
No.
like, I firmly believe that like Greg Nicotero, he's like on our side of that wall. Like, he's like, I don't know what's going on. I just yell action and put guts and shit on
I
people.
just show up and throw blood on everyone.
Exactly.
Oh gosh.
So Sharon D says Troll Masters. I say like, no, they're like the Super Troll Brothers. They're like Mario and Luigi. Who would be Mario and Luigi in this one? I don't know.
I think I'd have to say Kirkman's Mario and Gimple's Luigi.
Because Luigi fucks shit up.
Well, yeah, that's a good point too. But I don't know. I don't know. I picked like Kirkman's like the main guy, and so is Mario, and then there's Gimple, and then there's Luigi. No, Sharon D's got it. Gimple's Wario.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So Mario and Wario. So like Gimple's Wario. Kirkman's Mario.
Perfect.
Right, and Kirkman's probably just like this most of the time. I don't know. I lend my input every now and again, but I don't know. Gimple's like, I know. I'll fuck shit up today.
Gimple knows everything, but he won't tell anybody.
Again, like when you see his what is it called? His caller ID? Yeah. It's like you have 7 days to live. Period.
Yeah.
Done.
You
As a
don't want to
person.
say that name. As a person, not your character. Watch out,
No.
you're dead.
That's why he doesn't call his wife. He just sends her letters or just talks to her in person.
Oh yes. Yes.
No. No, Satrazemus is Princess Peach. For sure. 100%. 100%.
Why would he be a princess?
Hold up. Let's take it back. I gotta take that back. No, Michael Satrazemus is Toad. And guess
Thank you.
what?
I was just gonna say that if you didn't.
Toad is my favorite character.
Yep.
What I wanted to give carolers hope for. First of all, Leah being in the picture doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean a thing. I'm just a personal anecdote. Like, I've been with people, broken up with them. I've gotten together with that same person 10 years later. Had a go of it. Had a really long relationship. And it didn't work out, but we tried. I ended up marrying somebody completely different. Like somebody brand new. Connie, right? So I'm not saying anything with that one, but that's what people do. When they realize it's not, the timing is off or whatever, they just do their thing. They have a life with somebody else. Doesn't mean that they can't try it later. People don't move in straight line. Some people do. Some people marry their high school sweetheart, have kids, no bones. It works out. It happens. It happens most of the time. Cool, fine. But like just so many people in my life, it's not a straight line. They go to this relationship. They become a different person in that relationship. So at the point you don't want to be friends with them, then they come back and they're like, hey man, I missed you, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. And then they go out with this person. and then this person with that person. It's not a straight line. People are different people with other people. People find out that this is something that we said about being with Connie, is you find out that you can be this person that you didn't think you could be before because of this new person. There's no reason to think that, like, why wouldn't they get together and why wouldn't it end tragically? One of the other hopeful thing is that it's in the past and Dog is a puppy in the past. Why else would you show Dog as a puppy if it wasn't in the past, right?
Exactly.
And if it was in the past, where's Leah now? Nowhere. She's dead or something.
Probably died.
Right?
Yeah, I'm guessing Leah
Right.
died.
So there's nothing for you people to be sad about. This was in the past. This is what he was doing in the past 6 years while Carol was with Ezekiel. Again, time, all of these factors together make a shit sandwich that you can just go, no, well, I'll leave that shit sandwich over there. I don't want it. Stop eating it. You don't need it.
What I'm nervous about is, like, what I'm having a hard time digesting is if this is a romantic thing between Daryl and Leah, and it sounds like it maybe, is actually seeing him kiss someone.
That's an interesting thing, isn't it?
I don't
think I've ever seen him kiss anybody.
I've never seen him kiss someone. It's going to be so weird.
Yeah, everybody's going, right?
Like, and is it going to be awkward? Like, you know, people have like kiss face. So, like, does he have a nice kiss face? Is he going to be awkward? Is he going to like try and bite her face off? Like, is he one of those open mouth? Like, how bad is this going to be?
Right?
That's all I keep thinking of.
Is Norman Reedus gonna invent a kiss face for Daryl?
Yeah,
because I don't think I've ever seen Norman Reedus kiss on television or movies to the point where I think it's almost a thing.
Oh, well, okay. The closest thing I've seen Norman Reedus kiss are fans in their photo ops.
And, you know, right, exactly. In other words, nobody.
Yeah. I mean, right. And that's not a romantic kiss by any means. So it's
yeah, and some of them, actually, I have seen him kiss Denai Guerrera in some of these behind the scenes photos, which made me feel very awkward.
Yeah. I do remember the one where he snuck up behind her and got her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like right on that one. Right on the face.
But then again, it was like his head was right in front of the camera, so of course you couldn't see. You could not see.
You knew what happened, but...
Right. I heard tell, a legend, but like we didn't really see it. This is like we're like flat earthers.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. When the whole Leah thing came up, that was my first thought was, it's going to be so weird to see him kiss someone. Right.
Period, exclamation point.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Rebecca says there's him and Andy Lincoln kissing too. Yeah, that might have been romantic.
But I'm okay. Like, I'll get used to it. I'll get over it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'll
literally,
get used to it.
I want to see how... I can't wait to see the reaction. Like, and which tells me something, though. Like, again, I don't want to disparage anybody. Again, and this is... I'm giving you hope, but I'm also giving you truth. If you're willing to leave the show over something that you wanted to happen and didn't happen, were you ever really a fan? I'm going to be real with you. Because you're a fan because you're waiting for somebody to tell you how it goes, not for you to tell somebody else how it should go. Like, there's no rule book for this. Daryl's not in the comics. Daryl's like a shadow of Dwight.
Yeah. If you are a fan of a character, that doesn't make you a fan of the show.
I mean, you could be both, but like...
Well, yeah, of course you could be both. But if you're watching a show just for one character, I mean, does that mean you like the whole show?
And people watch shows for worse, right? Like, I want to just see zombies kill people. Like, okay, cool. That's fine. Well, you don't have to be a fan of the show to watch it. And I'm sure that was true for most people watching the show in its heyday. Like, some people just want to see the world burn. I can see that. It's 2016. So anyway, and again, that's not a political comment. I think most people back then just wanted to see the world burn. But then, like, I mean, yeah, and I don't care who's a real fan or who isn't a real fan, but it's just kind of like, if that's the reason why you watch the show and it never happened in 10 years, I mean, who's fooling who? You are a fan of the show. Get over it. You are. You just are. You've not been waiting for this for 10 years, nay 11, hoping for this to happen. There's something else going on here. It's not just that for you. It's not.
How many people say they're going to stop watching if something doesn't happen and then never actually do? Like, it's just like an empty threat. Like, I'm going to quit watching if this... Like, I feel like it's said more than it's actually followed through on.
Yeah. It's like the same amount of children of the 1970s and 80s whose mothers said, I'm going to kill you, and never did.
See, I'm still alive. My mom said that a lot. And I'm still
I took
here.
a lot of beatings with a wooden slipper, but I'm still here.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Rebecca
the-
said the same thing. I say I'll quit a lot of things, happen to things happening to various people, but wouldn't actually.
I mean, look, it wouldn't be a
Wouldn't
day
actually
ending in Y if you didn't. And again, Sharon finds a perfect opportunity to put quotes, Daryl grunts sexily in the captions. We needed to do this. We needed to get this out there because next week is going to be that episode. Because let's face it, this episode was a kind of like just a smoother over. It's like just reminding you we're still here. We're still in this time period where we just defeated the Whisperers. We're recovering. That recovery is gonna be basically across the. It's gonna be all 6 episodes, but like we're touching on the how bad it really is. Seeing Hilltop decimated, seeing Alexandria, what the Whisperers did on their entrance and exit from its walls. It's all about recovery and the desperation of needing a place, needing a home, sweet home, after all of this, and then taking on more people. And then if you notice in the beginning, Daryl is saying this to, I forget who, I wrote this down, but like they were talking about splitting up the Hilltop people between Oceanside and Alexandria. Like we'll take a dozen of them, etc.
Oh,
so you hear that in the beginning. Yeah, exactly. So this is how bad it is. There are some survivors and some of them won't be here and some of them won't be there. This is their lives now. And it's interesting because Carol mentions this in the promo for, I think it is the next episode. It just came out today, the full scene with Carol and Daryl, and they're fishing, and she goes, do you feel like our luck's run out? And it's very interesting because, in a sense, I already feel that from this episode that we just watched. Like, there is a sense of like, wow, we're really picking up the pieces here, and not many people have many place to go. And then Maggie and her people come, and it's like, oh shit. And it's not that many people, but still, it's 4 or 5 more mouths to feed, whatever it is.
Yeah. Do we know how many people there really are? I mean, all the ones we've met are dead now.
Yeah, with Elijah, Cole, Maggie. Is there another person?
Jen and Denny or something who didn't make it out of the building. There's 2 more burnt to a crisp.
Yeah,
3 died in the woods. 4 died in the woods.
Yeah, let's dwell on that a bit. It's like, damn, more than half the people that were with her died. And then we find Herschel, and it's like, okay, now only half.
This was pretty important to me, but I probably didn't hit you quite as hard, but I was really happy that Carol had the conversation with Maggie that she did. Well, it was kind of with everybody, but she told Maggie straight up, I let Negan out. We needed him. He did what needed to be done, and that's that.
It did hit me a little bit though. I was very tense. I was kind of like, oh, how's this going to go down? And then she just says it, just plainly. But what I like the most about that is what Maggie says later on to Daryl. She just did what she had to do. And I don't know that I would do any differently.
I wrote this. I wrote down a lot of quotes from this episode. God knows what I would have done if I was there.
Because that also speeds you up to like her in season 9, right? Do you remember her?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Practical.
Yeah.
No nonsense, no feeling. I mean, I admired that about her, actually.
Well, when she said, oh, God knows what I would have done, and she acknowledges that Carol, did what she had to, we didn't see it, but Maggie knows about the Pikes and all of that, and Carol lost her son and how that all went down, right? Like, yeah, if Maggie were there, she would have done exactly what Carol did. I mean, plus or minus the Negan, but she would have gone to any lengths, I think. If that was Herschel up on a Pike, yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, but I did this while you were saying that. First of all, brilliant what you just said. But one thing that I had questioned, and this is like the little dingleberry that never got resolved, and because it's the Gimple thing. At the end of season 8, Daryl, Maggie, and Jesus have this conversation, this little behind closed doors conversation about, hey, we're not going along with Rick's plan. And season 9 has a flavor of that. And in the end, Maggie does end up leaving because this whole project has gone to pot. Rick has died. I died being against Rick. And so I don't know if I have a place here anymore. So she leaves with Herschel, etc., whatever. This conversation does illustrate 2 things. Maggie in season 9, practical, shrewd, willing to boot out or not help Alexandria for the sake of a thriving Hilltop, right? Not even surviving, thriving Hilltop. I am for Hilltop until she does the killing Gregory thing, and then that's a whole other story. And then it doesn't even matter what she does. Like they have it so good that they feel like they need to revolt against her. But marrying that attitude with the Maggie that we got a glimpse of at the end of season 8, that little dingleberry scene, everything starts to make sense now. Feel like they are, to your point at the beginning of this episode, I feel like they're in some way trying to touch that comic book character without crossing that line, right? Like the Maggie in the comics, it's just not there in the show. It's just not there. But if you can touch it, if you can resemble it in some manner, well, okay, that'll satisfy some people. And Angela King does in many different, like without going full Gimple, does in some ways satisfy the comic book audiences. I say that again because at the end of the episode, as Maggie's walking in, what do you see in the back wall?
The silence, the whispers into screams.
Whispers into screams, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, both of them, actually. But yes, the whispers into screams we saw nowhere until now.
Right.
Which is cool.
It is cool.
I was like, hey, look at that. It's like, it didn't need to be there, but it was there.
And it was cool. Actually, Sharon D pointed it out, and then I looked behind Maggie. I was so focused on her angry face and her like, don't look at Negan, don't look at Negan, don't look at Negan.
Yeah, that slow walk into Alexandria.
Yeah.
That, like, the bouncy with the hair flowing in the like, yeah, I don't see you.
Right.
I don't see you at all.
And you know, and I love the fact that she tells Daryl, sorry, going back to the shipping container, she says, you know, I'll deal with Negan if I have to. I didn't get the feeling she meant kill him, like deal with him that way. Like she literally meant if I have to live next to him, I will.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think maybe what scares her most, or what would scare her most, is not being able to give her kid a straight answer, like a real answer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
hard. Yeah, that would be hard to sit with.
Right, because it's one thing if you have to explain yourself to, you know, the people who know you best, all of you. Because if you think about it, you more than anybody else will know this since you are a parent. Like, your kid doesn't know the whole of you. Like, they know mom you, you know, and over the years, you show them more and more they'll get surprised of how little they actually knew the whole of you, right? I'm not saying that you're going to tell them all the dirty secrets. I'm just saying they're going to know you as a person rather than as a mom. But right now, she's at that point with Herschel Ree that, like, it's mom, you know? But we're getting to that stage where, okay, you're going to get to know a little bit more. I think what scares her is that she wants to be the mom that avenges her father right now, because that's what Herschel needs right now. He needs structure. He needs to know that he's safe, and which is really hard in the apocalypse, right? Mm-hmm. But, like, how can you give that to him if you yourself, as we've illustrated, probably have made your peace with that? So I think there is an element of, like, I'm almost upset that I don't hate Negan. Like, I don't want to kill him, right? Like, it's like I'm disappointing that version of me that is best for my son, you know?
Carol struggles with it too when Daryl asks her.
And that's the thing. That's what I wanted to point it back to, right? You nailed it. Fucking nailed it. Reel it in, baby.
I know where you're going.
That whole face.
Carol says she'll never come around on him. Something to that effect. And Daryl asks her, well, have you?
And that face.
And that face, I mean, said it all. She said her whole lines with her face.
And in some ways, she's where we are. Like, we're like...
I literally... Where's it at? Hold on. Yeah, coming around on Negan. Carol looks like me.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
Like,
but it's exactly that. It's like, you know what? This is the limit. Because I saw a post on Reddit today that said, am I wrong in thinking? And this is classic. Yes, you are. This is how they all start. Yes, you are wrong, but here, you know, I'll hear you out. Am I
if
wrong
it starts
for
out
thinking
that way, you probably...
But yeah, it literally, it's like, so he's like, I don't think I'm wrong for saying that Spencer deserved to die. It was the right thing to do for Negan to do, to kill Spencer. And then I was like, I paused and I said, well, you forgot the part about saying killing is wrong. Like, you know, we should all say that, but the show gets us to a point where we don't, right? Like, first of all, killing is wrong. Let's put that out of the way. But the other thing you said about killing, it was right to kill Spencer. No, that's not right either. We can say that based on Negan's motivations, it makes sense that he would. Like, and then when you understand his underlying motivations, like why is he the way he is, then maybe you could say some sort of semblance of like, okay, according to him, for what he was trying to do, you've got to get these people out of the way because they just bog down progress, right? They just, and which ends up what? Not making people safe. Not feel safe, Virginia, you know, actually safe. According to him, whatever. But was it right? No, it was unprovoked. He wasn't being violent. But you know, it's funny because when I answered that, he said, you know, that makes a lot of sense. And I said, yeah, that's not right.
Duh.
I get you. I get it. Like, I didn't care that it happened so much. I was shocked. I saw guts. Apparently he had them. So, But going back to the comment when Rachel and Carol made that face, and I did too, I was like, yeah, how did they get us to this point where we're like, yeah, Negan's all right, I think, right?
Right, but then you feel bad even saying that.
Right, because you'll offend Maggie because she's in the room. In a way.
I like what Rebecca's saying. It's a tricky situation because you can want to forgive someone who's harmed you if they've paid their debt, but having to live in the same community with that person is a whole different thing. But then where else can he really go? There isn't anywhere in the apocalypse, which is true. I mean, in the comic books, he just sort of walks off and we never see him again. And there are real life situations right now where people have to, probably not live, in this close a proximity with someone who hurt or injured or killed a family member, but that's a real life situation right now. There are people out and about who have done horrible things, and then people who have to live with the fact that they know this person's out there.
We all have to live with people who's not only let's say from the harsh. Okay, we have some people in my family, mostly my in-laws, where they have grudges against them. They don't talk to each other. It's a shame. It's a total shame. It's a total shame. But we do every now and again. We're civil. And we all have that person whose political opinions we don't really like, but we live with them, and some of them are in our family, and then we know we have to live with them. It's exactly why I want to go back to Carol and Daryl on this one, because it does apply. What you've done, I'm willing to live with. Basically Daryl's kind of just saying that. Rebecca Punch has kind of said it for me, but in the context of Daryl and Carol. Daryl can forgive, but don't ask him to forget. That shit takes work. That shit takes time. It's almost a given for him to say, yeah, we're cool, we're okay. But, we still got to build that, rebuild the bridge. We still got to, again, I'm not only comparing the Maggie and Negan thing to Daryl and Carol, but I'm also comparing it to Alexandria. This just happened. We've got to rebuild. That's what needs to happen. You can't pretend like it didn't. Right. And the same with Negan and Maggie. You can't pretend like it didn't. Daryl and Carol, you can't pretend like it didn't.
Lydia said it perfectly right in the beginning, too. She said, Carol's actions, right or wrong, her plan worked.
It's like prefacing the Reddit comment. Of course, killing is wrong. But. But it got the job done. No. But it worked. I mean, for him, for what he wanted to do.
Well, and it did. It worked. I mean, some things got messed up in the process, but the end result was what they wanted. Alpha dead and the herd gone.
Horde. Yeah, exactly. And most people being safe. Right. 100%. I mean, seeing those bodies in the field, though, by the way, made it real. Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, on the third watch, I really paid attention to that. But yeah, speaking of walkers and dead bodies, I watched the show the first time around, obviously on AMC Premiere. I got to watch it live on Sunday night. I watched it twice before. Whatever, big deal. Then afterwards, you see the production special where they explain that, they literally only had less than these 5 fingers, plus 2 to work with as walkers. And so I loved finally paying attention to what they were talking about when they said, oh, we used shadows to illustrate a sense of crowdedness in the container park,
on the side.
And then when you watch it the second, when you actually start to pay attention, you're like, oh, I see. Yes, that's smart, because you really only get to see 3 or 4 at a time in that park. Yeah. They're only working with that many, right. And so when you actually it felt like a lot more, right? You hear the banging of the drums. Yeah.
No, they're doing a great job. I mean, considering the COVID and everything, I mean, they're doing a great job. I can't even imagine how difficult it would be to work in these conditions.
And I have to also say, okay, the digital camera work, I didn't notice as much until they started having more of these wide shots. They were a lot crisper. They were able to focus a little better on some of the resolution. One thing I did notice was how, because they're filming from so far away, because of distance, social distancing, the sound is interesting. It's a little bit more organic. It's not up close. It's not as clear. There are moments where if they tilt their head this way, you hear them funnier. The acoustics sound weird, but I like that in a weird way. And I also got to thinking about one other thing. You'll notice it if you watch the episode of Kelly's looking this way just a little bit. You don't hear her quite well. She's going this way, tilting to the right, and then she faces forward. Okay, you hear her okay now. It's because the boom mic is so far up. Because the angle they need to be able to still hold it up. Because you can't hold a boom mic just above her head. That's difficult. You have to kind of have it way high up. Okay.
I've never held a boom mic. I don't know. Well, I've seen them. I know what you're talking about, but I've never held one.
Anyway, so my whole point being is that it sounds a lot more organic, but then I got to start thinking, what if they're filming from so far away that it actually makes the acting a lot better? Think about it. If you barely feel that the cameras are there, right? Do you feel like you slip into that like environment? Do you feel
possibly
like you're part
could feel more real without a camera in your face?
Yeah, I started to feel like I was. That's what I was starting to pay attention to, like after a little while. And Angel Theory does sort of touch on that a little bit in the Talking Dead afterwards. I was like, oh, she kind of like, it almost felt like it was real. Like if I didn't feel the cameras. Is this Rebecca Punch? Yeah. So she says the screen printed walker faces and hands. yeah, for the shadows, right? Rawr, rawr.
I noticed, Cole watching the shadows and like waiting for him to come, like, and his I don't know if I want to call it a knife or a swords, or I don't know. They're just freaking cool. I like his weapon.
They're the, what did Frodo call it? Sting? the swords that kill orcs.
It's like half sword, blue. Half knife.
It glows blue when walkers come near.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm nerding out. My bad. My bad. I so fucking appreciate these episodes. Obviously, we said it in Fear the Walking Dead. We're saying it now here. And I was musing with Evelyn on the couch, and I'm like, I remember like going, oh man, why aren't there more episodes of this or more episodes of that? Like, oh, and then I start to realize, oh yeah, COVID. And then I start to realize we've been really lucky. We've been so fucking lucky. And then like, this is no exception. And then, of course, but now I want to see like necessity is the mother of invention. So like, because they had to film in these conditions, what cool innovations come out of it to where it might actually be even better. You know, like that's what I'm looking for now. I want to see, and we get these insane wide shots, these cool little filler wide shots that show, in a sense, I was noting this in my notes, I said, it's like as if the camera knows what we're feeling and it's showing this distance between it and them. Right. And in one of the production shots that was shared just yesterday, I think, or the day before yesterday, it showed Daryl and Carol separated by a river. And it was like them on the extreme sides of the photo. And it's a wide shot. It's a very wide shot, high resolution photo. And it's just so cool. And we get these nice digital crisp, very not saturated, but like just like wide color gamut. It's still like within a certain palette, obviously because it's in the forest, whatever. But it's just so rich. But it's also saying something. It's saying distance, social distance, COVID. Yeah. And it's also saying we get it. We get you. This is where we're living in. It's like the camera itself is telling a story and sympathizing. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is, yeah.
There's only one thing that I wanted to touch on. It's going to take 2 seconds, but as the carts are pulling away and you see Negan for the first time on screen and Maggie's there and it goes, hey Maggie. Just before that, if you have headphones on, you hear something and it's Aaron saying, hey, hold up, Gabriel. You don't see him, but you hear him. I thought that was kind of cool because we know there's going to be an Aaron and Gabriel episode. So I wonder if that episode starts
there
from when the wagons go away.
I didn't hear Aaron. I heard Negan say, have a safe trip or something along those lines.
Exactly. But if you have headphones, it's in this ear. I think it's in the right ear. And you hear, hey, hold up, Gabriel.
Is it before or after Negan says his line?
It's definitely before you see the cart pull away.
Okay.
It's just as that's sort of happening. And I'm like, what the shit? I hit pause. I'm like, hey, hold up, Gabriel! !
Was it so quiet that even the captions didn't catch it?
It might have been.
Okay.
But it might be there.
I will have to pay extra close attention this time. I did not catch that on any of the 3 watches I had.
Okay. Well, you'll definitely hear it once I say it. Like once you notice it. You'll be like,
now I know where to listen.
That's kind of cool. I do want to race through also, speaking of the end, where we see Negan again and Maggie just breezing past him like Beyonce, right? The stark difference between the beginning of the episode where he's wearing his leather jacket, he's all like, just, hey, I'm part of the community now, so I got my hands like folded like this in front of me, I'm cool, hey, how you doing? And then Maggie shows up. He's still in his leather jacket, but people know who he is. They know he was the savior of Hill Hilltop, sort of, not really. They know he was the savior again after the tower, right? So, like, he can just be himself. Nuh-uh. And then by the end of the episode, I noticed, and I'm going to ask you a question, see if you feel the same way I do. Do you think in a way, like, I know he's rehabbing a house. You're not going to rehab the house in your leather jacket, right? It's your leather jacket. He cares about it, right? But do you think also a part of that is also like, he sees Maggie in the beginning, he knows he's going to see her again. Because Hilltop's gone and he knows it, right? Because he did it. Does he change his demeanor for Maggie? It feels like when he talks to her at first in the beginning, there is a sense of that, hey, I didn't escape, if that's what you're saying. Kind of like, I kept my promise to you. I still feel the way I do. I just don't want to kill myself, but like, I'm not that different from that guy you saw last, So at the end of the episode, when he's dressed down and he's wearing his shitting cap because it's brown, like, do you get that sense of like, maybe he changed his demeanor from the leather jacket wearing participant to like, I'm just going to blend into the scenery?
I don't know. I definitely didn't have that thought while I was watching the scene. No, when I saw him standing on his porch there, it looked like he was like getting ready for bed or something. Like, it just, in a leather jacket just doesn't go with jam.
Well, he had the work gloves
inside.
too.
Did he have gloves on? I mean, I saw he had like a hat and he had like I don't know, he looked like he was going to bed. I mean, it wasn't bedtime or anything. But that didn't cross my mind really, I guess. When I saw him and he didn't have the leathers on, I just figured, I mean, it didn't go with what he had on. I don't know. I didn't give it much thought that he wasn't wearing it.
Well, think about it and keep thinking about it, just as a personal aside, like just think about it for now, because have you ever known Negan, even in season 10? Well, season 10, for most of it, he was in his leather jacket by the back half, but like in the first half, it's like, oh, Negan looks like Rick, even. But like at the same time, when he got the leather jacket from Brandon, he never really let go of it, even after the tower. And again, this is just after the tower. So maybe he's like, I don't know. He wore it through thick and thin. He wore it with the Whisperers. He never took it off. He never blended in with the Whisperers. Right. But now he's blending in with Alexandria. I feel like that is saying something. Rebecca Punch is saying something similar too. It's like the difference in costuming was so perfect. Aging badass versus grandpa, right? Like the stark difference in demeanor and outfit. I just feel like there's something there. And maybe it's me wanting to see what I want to see a little bit, even though they're trying to lead me down a garden path, probably. Like part of me is just by the way he's saying his lines to Maggie and the way they choose to dress him in both scenes, I feel like there is a genuine sense of like, I know what I did. She didn't deserve it. I did what I did at the time because that's what I thought was right. But now is different. And now she has a kid. Or I knew she had a kid. Now that kid lived. Now that kid's here. I know what it's like to kill or maybe be responsible for children without parents, that sort of thing. So
I would love to see him hang up the leather jacket. I think that would be it would be symbolism. Like he's putting away Savior Negan and now he's Alexandria Negan. I mean, would he feel like a different person? Well, yeah, that's kind of the point.
Clothes make the man?
You want, yeah,
sort of thing.
We want you to be a different person, so you should look like a different person. I think there'd be a lot of symbolism in him just hanging up the jacket and saying, that's my past, here's where I'm going. I mean, Maggie could just kind of speed that process up, maybe, seeing her. Maybe he wants to get to that better person faster now.
Yeah, maybe give that a good old college try now that maybe I have an in. Sure. Yeah. Right?
Well, and he has more to prove, too. Like you said, all these people he's been living with, they already see what he's done, with Hilltop, with the Whispers and everything. Now here's somebody else he needs to prove himself to.
Right. Because, I mean, yeah, even Cole, Captain Obvious, but also at the same time, Sharp. Maggie told him. Because it wasn't explained to him, oh, now we're going to live next door to the man who killed her husband. She must have told him in the village, oh, this is that guy. And now he knows. So it's a famous story. It's not like she stopped talking about it.
Right. Or the name anyway, because they said his name several times, yeah.
Yeah. So he must have picked on. So he's not as dumb as he looks. No, I'm kidding. No, he's very beautiful. Anyway. It's funny I say that because like in one of the shows that James Navati has been in, like he's cast as beautiful man number 1 or like something like that. So it's really funny. He must not have always had that beard. Oh yeah, Elijah's played by O.K.M.A. Quarry. He's 25. But again, there's nothing really on
25?
him. Yeah, exactly. There's not much on him on the internet, but he was in Cobra Kai. He was in Greenland. Yeah,
wait, he was in Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was Sean he was Sean the juvie guy, the guy that beat up on Robbie. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's the same guy.
Okay. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
the different characters.
See,
Different characters.
now Cobra Kai is a part of the Walking Dead universe.
The logo is different in the beginning. That's something I wanted to bring up too. Because remember, after all in one of our blogs, I actually illustrated the difference between the beginning of season 10 to finally, it's the 1016 blog. It's the, which was episode 101. Yeah, it was episode 101. The difference between the beginning of season 10 and the end of season 10 is, in the beginning of season 10, it's all green and mossy. Oh, it's great. At the end of it, it's on fire. But now it's all burnt and then there's blood dripping from the top. So I wonder if it's going to turn all in blood by the end of the season, because 6 episodes.
Well,
now
by the end of season 10 or carry over into 11? By 10, yeah, that'd be cool. 10.
Yeah.
Fill it with blood.
Make me worried. I mean, where are we going here in just 6 episodes? Where are we going?
Well, nowhere. We're not going anywhere.
It's COVID. Come on. You got to stay at home.
Yeah, no, we're not going anywhere. We're going to find out what everybody's been up to.
Look at these guys. Perfect segue. Perfect fucking segue. Okay, let me just say what they said. Sharon Dean and Rebecca Punch. They said good. the city out west.
Yeah.
Maggie. So this is something that, okay, let me front load this for you. Back in the summer, again, it's not the summer, it's definitely spring. When we were talking about the teasers into Fear the Walking Dead season 6, we were talking about Walking Dead World Beyond, we were talking about a lot of things. In it, we were talking about A Key to the Future, because off the heels of season 5, we had to catch people up when we were talking about the trailers about, look, this is Key thing and Jenny, which they never really talked about, but they did. Jenny does say, a key to the future, or something, the keys to the future, or some bullshit, right? And then that got us thinking back in season 5, what the fuck? There must be a connection to Georgie. Without a doubt. And then you see a lot of that imagery, literally flags with keys and keys on Rangers' hats in Fear the Walking Dead season 6 thus far. And now we're mentioning Georgie. It feels like there is no connection to Commonwealth with Maggie and Georgie. None whatsoever. Why? Because it just doesn't feel right. She's not Pamela Milton, period. Again, this is the Commonwealth reference. A Key to the Future appears nowhere in the comic, or there's no, or at least to my knowledge, there's no connection to the Commonwealth at all with this. The twins are off. They don't feel Commonwealth-like. They just feel like delinquents trying to do something. And then the proof was in the pudding in this episode. I had this gut feeling like if Eugene's going off to get help from Stephanie, and Stephanie happens to belong to the Commonwealth, I don't think Maggie's a part of that at all, or she would get involved or something like that, because the Commonwealth soldiers meet them at the end. They rush in. That couldn't happen if Maggie was there. If Maggie was there, why are they meeting them up in the tower? It just ships in the night. It just doesn't make sense.
Agreed.
And now we see the proof, which means I'm right about something. I mean, right about
a lot of stuff.
I'm right about my feelings. It just doesn't make sense. I feel like the stronger connection here, and this is something I said way when Ginny had the key on her lapel, and she was like, then she finally says Key to the Future in season 5. I said, oh, Georgie has something to do with this, but I feel like this is not what she intended. Maggie talks about in this episode how she and Georgie go to these different communities, and it just nearly doesn't work out. Literally. The last one they go to is a place in Knoxville, and it seemed like it was getting along, all of a sudden wasn't. And they parted ways. Maggie, she's on her way, it feels like, to Hilltop, and then she takes a detour, and then she ends up in this village, etc., etc. But last she heard from Georgie is that she was heading out to a city out west. Now, what Georgie does, just to kind of take you back to season 8, is what Georgie does is she drops the key to the future on the laps of these communities, leaves them alone for a little while, and then comes back and goes, how'd you do? And then she finds them dead. Most places. And it seems like after a string of this, Maggie goes off, she fucks off, she gets to the village, they're there together. She builds this relationship with Cole, Elijah, all these people. Elijah's sister, who happens to probably be there. Cole's whatever, who knows? And then loses a bunch of people to what is proposed to be the Reapers, right? So, okay, we can talk about the city out west first. I've heard Sharon D say, I've heard one person say, it wasn't Sharon D who said it was Portland. Sharon D says Omaha, because we're talking about Walking Dead World Beyond references. I'm like, no connection to the CRM. Again, I don't think Georgie has anything to do with either of these groups. It makes more sense if we're talking directly out west. I mean, not directly, but like, I'm thinking out west usually means like west, not Midwest, like Southwest. I'm thinking Texas. Now, what do you think on this one? Because it makes more sense that the Ginny, the connection, the keys. I'm not thinking any of this Civic Republic shit. No way.
I didn't really have any thoughts about that specifically, and when Sharon and I were talking about it, if you're in Virginia, pretty much everything is west, so they could be anywhere.
True, Right. It might not have anything to do with anything. However, you and I both know that look, The Walking Dead is almost over. We did see those pioneers at the end, or 10, 11. Who cares? It was the Michonne exit episode.
Yeah,
Ladies and
10,
gentlemen.
11.
There's some just increasing evidence that it feels like, Virginia settlements, Lawton, let's say. So, and Sharondy's also saying, oh, it's New Mexico. She went to Albuquerque to get some blue meth. We all want that crossover, okay?
Perfect.
We all want it. And if that's true, I will hang my hat on that. I will. I'll hang my hat on that. And then there'll be a connection to The Walking Dead The Walking Dead and Breaking Bad, a la the Carol and Daryl spinoff, which I completely accept. If Walter White comes back, or maybe Aaron Paul, who knows? Yeah, I'm in. I'm just in. I don't care anymore. Yeah, okay, so she did say it could have been Portland or Omaha. I'm like, hey, it's too far out west. That's like West Coast. It's like, nah. It's like, that's like Northwest. It's like, it's like, nah.
They're in the boulder free zone.
Yeah, that was the thing that made me laugh out loud. When they said boulder free zone, I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take a Stan crossover. If we can get an Ed Gein crossover, like a real character in the real life, like a serial killer, I'll take that. I'll take the Stand. Sure. You find me at Hemmingford Home, Abigail Freeman.
But never actually show it. Okay, we could go all night about how much I hate that.
Is the guy that sniped half of Maggie's people, is he a Reaper? Yes or no?
I can't answer that.
Gun to your head, literally. Oh no.
I can't answer that because I don't know who the Reapers are yet.
Okay.
He mentioned someone by name. Pope marked you.
Right. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the Reapers are real. I'm going to say the Reapers are the ones that drove Maggie off their land. But the Pope marked you thing tells me, based on the table reads, tells me this is the Richard Patrick character. And the Richard Patrick character...
Oh, I didn't even think that. You're so right. You are so right.
I connect the dots. And speaking of connecting the dots, did you buy us a cup? No. Just before recording today, I created a clip. Okay, the clip is a combination of two promos. During the live watch of this episode, we saw a teaser into The Walking Dead season 11, the final season. What is it? It's a kind of a handheld camera view zooming into to a two-way mirror room with camera set up.
Looks like an interrogation room.
Right, and there's no audio, right? It's just like the sounds of the camera and like a screen, right? Mm-hmm. Hold that thought. We all know what this is. Well, most of us that know of the comics or have read the comics. What I did was I released this clip and I said, I fixed it. I fixed this clip. I took the promo with the Commonwealth surrounding Princess, King Ezekiel, Yumiko, etc., Eugene. Yep. I took the audio from the beginning of that clip because what does it say? It says, what is your name? What did you do? Who are you before something? Whatever. I took the audio from that. I put it on top. I layered it underneath that clip for The Walking Dead season 11. I said I fixed it.
Let's start with your name. Where are you from? Where were you when the fall happened?
I fixed it for you.
Yep.
Lance Hornsby.
Don't worry, AMC, we got this.
We got this. We got you. we fixed it for you. So that's up on our YouTube and our social media by now. People who read the comics, you'll love it. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah. Sharon D saying about, I don't know, Pope's minion. I don't know what we want to call him. He pulled a page. He killed himself rather than answer some questions.
A barrier under Jasper's leg reference, right? Page from that episode of The Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead, yeah.
Season 6. Rather than answer questions, Sharon D says, he paged himself.
He paged himself.
He paged himself. Yeah, exactly.
Which is different than Otising. Don't confuse the two.
Right. Paging and Otising, don't do the, no.
One words.
Won't get, one is self-preservation, one isn't.
Oh my gosh. Paging and Otising.
But she also says, looked like Leo Bennett's room. And like at first you get that vibe that it looks like Leo Bennett, like the TS subjects, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or, no, I think she means Leo Bennett's room, like room, like where Lila fed him too many lentils.
Oh, like a apartment? What would we call it?
I was thinking more like the science room though, when I saw that
that's
teaser.
What she said.
But the science room.
Oh gosh.
We learned about anatomy today. But
I will do
anyway.
Science to it.
I will do
Rebecca
science
says.
Yes, I use my forceps and my anyway. So my and my mandibles. When you think about Robert Patrick's character, he has a scene with Gabriel and table reads, and they talk about good and evil people, and it feels like it makes more sense to me that a religious cult or militant religious cult of some kind would have this kind of suicide pact kind of thing. Like, I'd rather kill myself in the name of God, let's say, for instance, the name of Pope, God. There's a little connection there. It makes sense to me that Gabriel and that Richard Patrick guy would have a meeting in the minds in the terms of scripture. And I think in some weird way, that's going to be a big scene coming up where it almost feels as though this conversation between he and Gabriel could mean death or destruction or saving this group. Do you know, like much similar to like the Highwaymen in a sense. Like, if he doesn't say the right thing, if he doesn't do the right thing, like, because these people are crazy. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of nervous after this encounter.
I don't know. I guess when he said Pope marked you, my first thought wasn't like, oh no, I thought, Maggie, what did you do?
Automatically, like, it must have been something she did, right?
I mean, good or bad, she did something to piss this guy off. So what was it?
Although when she was pleading with him, that's what made me, I get what you're saying, because there was a little shadiness in the beginning. Like, Cole and her were exchanging
glances. Doesn't want to talk about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Should we tell them? Like, no, I don't want to worry them, or fuck, this is, what killed all the people, blah, blah, blah. So that knowing glance, and then you find out, okay, this could have been them. Oh my God, Herschel's gone. Let's tell them. But then, like, at the end of it, she's in a desperate panic. Like, she's, coming to grips with, like, these could be the people that killed my people, right? This could be the guy, one of the guys. So she doesn't even know who they are, which then throws me for a loop, because are these the Reapers? Are these the very same people that killed your people? I don't know. And again, there must be some crazy fuck people out there after 10 years.
And
seriously.
Did Maggie and her group give these villains the name the Reapers, or are they calling themselves the Reapers? Because she asked the guy, what do you call yourself? So that made me think that she gave them the label of the Reapers.
And like when we were like doing the live tweet the other night, I was like telling somebody, oh yeah, it's like the Claimers, but 2.0. Like, we went from claiming to reaping. What's next? I have no idea. I don't want to go there.
That would be the end.
We're like skirting like on a thin line. Claiming, reaping. Reaping sounds like another R word.
Nope.
Right. I mean, it was bad enough when people were eating people. So Rebecca Punch and I actually did bring that up, because last time we heard anything close to the Reapers or the Reavers was like Firefly Serenity. And it was like, those were pretty scary. I don't know if you watched it. You should if you haven't. It's perfect Rachel show. It's a perfect Rachel show. Yeah. Firefly. Yeah, I think you would love it.
I feel like I've seen previews.
Yeah. And Charity's even saying it. Firefly's the bomb. Yep. Let me just talk a little bit about the one scene that I really connected with for some reason. It was, again, for some reason, it has nothing to do with almost anybody I really even care about, which surprised me. So when Elijah's freaking the fuck out, Maggie's gone, Kelly, it's this weird interchange between the morning of, Kelly is not on watch, and then Elijah steps up, picks up the sleeping bag for Kelly. He just lost his sister too. Kelly's looking for Connie. There's a lot of that going around. Beth, the confluence of Beth, Maggie having lost Beth, changing her demeanor, getting her bond with Kelly. Cool. But then Elijah freaks out, and then Kelly has a chance to be there for Elijah. Tells him, "Can you take off your mask? I want to see you. Like, how are you? What's going on?" And it's seeing that is the only scene in this episode. Like, and again, there are some things that hit, like Carol telling Maggie about Negan. And it's like that awkward, but like just pushing through it. And then I felt that. But this, for some reason, took me out of nowhere, because I'm ambivalent about Kelly as a character. I like her. Some characters give a world of color to something that would otherwise not be. Like, in some senses, like I'm going to say, don't hate on me, but like Jim on Fear the Walking Dead, for some reason, seeing a character like that, Wes and Jim Brower, like Wes painting the trees or whatever. But like Wes, as a foil, he's like us. He's looking at this shit and he's just going, what the fuck is this? Okay, fine. I'm along with the ride. Jim, what the fuck is this? Okay, I'm along for the ride. Kelly is kind of like that. She's in and out. She steps in and out. She toes that line between like, I'm just here. I want to take care of my family. It's just, she's a different kind of character. She's a different kind of body language. She's a different kind of outlook than most people on the show, like survival, blah, she wants to thrive. She wants to take care of her family. She's reckless sometimes. She does, and she's also suffering. But again, I'm kind of ambivalent, but when I saw the scene, I'm like, it feels like now she's like part of this thing. She's cemented as part of this, like a major part of this cast. Does that make any sense to you? Like, I felt like that was the first time I felt like she was a part of this thing.
I think I felt that for a little bit longer. I guess I can't pinpoint why that moment in particular would have sort of sealed the deal for you.
She became sort of like almost OG. Like, right? Like she's only been there since, like, I know it says, I say only, even though it feels like longer because for us it is, but like she's only been there since last season, since season 9.
It does feel longer. It feels like she's been around a lot longer.
Yeah. So seeing that scene just felt like it hit, like it was like, oh yeah, she's here to stay. Rebecca's saying it, by the way. She's saying, oh, I see it's part of everyone and not just Magna's group. Yes. That's most of what I'm saying. But not just part of Magna's group, but part of like, okay, now I've made it to the echelons of The Walking Dead. It's kind of like the same feel, like Aaron, right? When we first meet Aaron, it's like several seasons in, but now it's like we can't imagine The Walking Dead without Aaron, in a sense. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
Team family. Exactly. Team family. Rebecca punch. You say it exact. Team family. I'm using the hand motions. Team family.
So after Maggie yells at Kelly, I almost said Angel. Maggie yells at Kelly for leaving her post and running off, and then Elijah tosses all the stuff down, and Daryl says, it's not her. And then I think it's then that Maggie realizes that Kelly can't hear either because she sees Daryl signing to her. And then right after Daryl says, it's not her, let's go, you see Maggie reach out and actually touch Kelly to get her attention. And then Kelly looked at her, and then in a choked up voice, she's like, I just had to check. And I'm like, oh. Yeah, that got me.
I hear you. I feel that too. Again, I've watched this episode so many times that I moved past it. Like, so bad. No, you're right. But now that you put it that way, it's like, of course, she doesn't realize she's hard of hearing. And of course, I wish they would have hit on that more, right? Somehow, like a muffled, like kind of like the Connie thing, like in the cornfield, like maybe like a muffling, like she didn't quite hear it or didn't hear it at all. And like, not until she touched her did she notice that she was even there, which is scary, by the way. That's frightening, right? Like, I know how she must have felt, but at the same time, like, man, they honestly have to keep, because again, season 10 has been so long. They have to I think they have to kind of remind us how that there is this deterioration that they alluded to in season 10, that they talked about, because we know it, because we're in this shit. Rebecca Punch is saying, I think her storyline has so much potential. When you're completely deaf, you've adjusted, but Kelly is having to learn that as her hearing goes. Yeah, and Sharon is saying about Kelly going off alone. Exactly.
Last night when we were watching, we both were very angry with Kelly just running off on her own. One, she was supposed to be at her post. Two, she can't hear fully, so it's just not a good idea for you to be running off on your own when you have people there.
True. And I felt the same way. I felt kind of pissed too. I was just like, okay, you cannot sacrifice the safety of the group just to find your sister. I get it. But what makes it kosher, Daryl and Maggie have this interesting conversation just after this, about how, and it kind of reminded me of Morgan a little bit. I lose people, I lose myself. The fact that Morgan didn't want to go out there just to see Henry's body. Like, I can't bear to do it, which is why Carol has to do it and finds him. And it's her son thereafter. But, they have this conversation about, like, wouldn't you rather know than not know? Because Daryl says, I'd rather not know. Maybe she shouldn't, maybe we shouldn't find her. Maybe it's better off to just say she's gone. And Maggie's like, you have to, my daddy always used to say, you have to let the wound hit air. You have to let the wound hit air.
Wound can't heal till it hits the air. I wrote that one down too.
And then Daryl says, that's not true medically, right? And I'm like... But the analogy sticks. Like, we can't go back to being like Morgan. We're out here so long. We have to know. We can't just keep losing people and not know. But the context in which they're speaking of this is like, oh, she's probably dead. Oh, yeah, she's probably dead. We just have to find the body. Oh, yeah, she's probably dead. But by the end of the episode, as Maggie and Kelly talk more and more, they have that sister conversation. You seem like a big sister. You seem like a little sister, etc., etc. By the end of the episode, Maggie says, I hope I get to meet her one day. And Kelly says, you will. And by the end of it, it goes from, I hope we eventually find the body to we will find her alive. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because when we meet Maggie, it feels as though she's been through a lot. She keeps talking about all the places where a key to the future does not work. If they tried out here and there, Knoxville was the last one, looked like it was promising, failed too. And then without it, they meet this other group, this village. They didn't have to be a key to the future. They didn't have to be anything else. They just had to be. They just were. Now, for a while that worked, but there's a lesson there, and it's an important lesson before we meet the Commonwealth, because part of what the Commonwealth is all about what you were in order to be something in the future. Nothing about who you are now, which is interesting because when we talked before we watched The Walking Dead World Beyond, and as we were watching The Walking Dead World Beyond, one of the key things was all we are is fighting for the future. All we are is building a future. CRM, even Campus Colony, they did it different ways, and now we're going to see this again in the Commonwealth. But there's a lesson here, and that's a lesson that that's going to be a big theme moving into season 11 eventually, but even a little bit in season 10. What's more important? What has more value than here and now or the future? That's going to be a big theme. So seeing Maggie finally easing back into the team family, you see her ease up. You start to see her feel like anything is possible again. And I like seeing this progression throughout the episode. We're just waiting to find a dead body. No, we're going to find her. We're going to find her alive. That's cool. I like that. It makes us feel like we haven't skipped a beat in some ways. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
But again, the bigger, larger allegory of that is what we're going to see soon, with the Commonwealth.
I even wrote it down. Maggie has hope for Connie.
She already almost got eaten last year. Hello, Fear the Walking Dead 505. The end of everything? Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's such an extreme example, too. Woof. We live for the future. We don't live for now. I'm almost more annoyed with the Commonwealth with respect to that. Because the Commonwealth, at least from the comic perspective, it just seems like it doesn't even make sense. It's like they ignore that the apocalypse ever happened. They shield themselves. They're like Alexandria with bodies. It's like the walls of Alexandria on their bodies. It's like you didn't learn anything. You're still trying to be the way you were. Like this was supposed to be, The Walking Dead was supposed to be the opportunity to be your best self, to be the self you were meant to be. And the Commonwealth is literally ignoring all that. Let's just go back. Let's go back to the way we were. And again, this is where it's going to crash. This is where it's going to come to a head. And it almost annoys me even more. At least the CRM acknowledges that there's a problem and tries to solve it, right? And I don't know what Ginny's doing anymore.
Ginny does what Ginny wants.
Expecto Petroleum.
Yeah.
Now I get to put that meme on the screen.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on there. But I know at least she's trying to acknowledge what we have and living through it, finding ways to get through it. Hey, I might not like that way, but she's trying. Yeah, and again, Rebecca Punch, I haven't read the comics either, but I know I have a general sense of what because it's tropey in a sense. Like it's a comic book too. Like there's depth, sure, but how much? Which gets me more excited to see this Commonwealth. If they do it in a way where they're really deluded enough and confident enough to think that their way is the way, and to the point where they almost convince you. That's what I'm excited about. And that's why our banners and logos, the banners that we have that slight, the Commonwealth soldiers in the background, the white Star Trooper, Star Wars-y kind of bodysuits. Because it's the Spectre that's coming.
I'm not an explosives expert, so I don't know how mad I should be.
There was a Twitter thread about this, and I can verify. Okay, so we're talking about the grenade, the sniper guy.
Well, let me tell you what my specific bone is. So he pulls the pin, he explodes. Okay, his bone fragments would cause injury to everyone around.
I feel like that's more a critique on the effects. And just in my point of view, because if it was an American frag grenade is shrapnel. It's exploding shrapnel. There's a bit of a concussive force, but it's more the shrapnel.
Right.
It's a frag grenade, right? It's not like it's not a crazy explosive device. It's not what you think it is in the video games.
So you have the grenade fragments plus whatever bone shards are exploding, because the thing, it was like here in his breast pocket. So, I mean, I got to imagine some ribs and probably an arm, you know what I mean?
Sharon's saying, well, he was pretty beefy, so...
He was pretty beefy. But like I said, again, I'm going to go back to the disclaimer. I'm not an explosives expert. I don't know. But in my mind, I would think that would cause some...
My only beef was that Maggie was out front. Everybody else was behind the guy. I think the people behind the guys would have been totally safe. Like, you duck and cover, those guys are fine. Maggie, however, I would be concerned. I would be like, okay, there is a concussive blast, so it's a very short radius, very short, like a couple meters tops. And even though it's underneath clothing, but what's that going to do?
Not much.
You know, exactly. So she should have gotten hit by some shards. Now, the concussive force alone, I think, would have harmed her internally. IMHO.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can see a world in which she, again, she's the only one that I have a problem with. Just her. Everybody else I'm fine. But she, just concussive force. It's hard to believe that no shrapnel hit her, that sort of thing. That's the only thing I have a problem with.
I would like to ask someone who works with grenades. What would be, how far away would you need to be to not be seriously injured?
I have a buddy. I should phone a friend. My buddy was in the army. He was in demolitions. I bet he could tell me.
I'm very curious now.
You know what? I think I may have just solved this problem because you also have to talk about the fact that that grenade is 10 years old.
Oh, that's true. Who knows?
So
that's true. Well,
that could have been
true.
It could be mostly concussive blast, not as much small shrapnel. So
yeah, I don't know what the shelf life on a grenade is.
Charity, because she's watching. What is it called?
We finished The Boys.
The Boys, right? Ask translucent. Well, it's not in his ass. But then again, it wasn't in his ass. It should have been. Whatever.
That was one of those hilarious deaths.
When Maggie starts to breeze in, they finally make it to Alexandria. Herschel's okay. We meet him for the first time. That whole noise. Again, I don't dislike the kid. However, I have a theory. Let's talk about that first. Because one of the things we have to grapple with is Maggie and Negan in the same space. And I started thinking about the kind of kid that I hear Herschel is supposed to become, at least in the comic books. And of course, the comic books were in no man's land. Who knows? But you never know what trait they decide to put in these kids or these people. So I had this thought. And it's an interesting thought. And I should have researched the parable, but have you ever heard about the parable about when you save someone's life, you're responsible for it? That sort of thing?
Yeah.
So similar to that is the idea that, okay, you killed my husband. You killed this kid's father. I feel like, in a sense, and this is something that to get me to feel like there's some sort of like turnaround. Everything gets a return. Like, I know, forget who says that. I think that's Rick or Morgan. It would be interesting to see how, upon hearing, because there is a shot near the end, or right after Maggie, right in the beginning of the episode, there's this interesting shot where the intro music is coming on and the theme music is about to come on. It goes da-da-da-da-da, and you see Maggie walking towards the camera, and you have Negan on the far right with his back turned. You have Judith turned to the side, and you have Maggie walking to the camera face forward, right? And they're like on the extreme opposites. So there's this weird kind of like triad of like Negan's over here on this complete other side. Judith's on the other side. It's like the devil and angel on your shoulder kind of thing. And it struck me because I feel like there's a lot going on with this here because Judith and she are going to definitely have more conversations. Maggie was there for her birth. She's having these amazing interactions with her right now that I love. I'm my mother's daughter, looking up at the same sky, same stars. We covered that. That's cool. I like it. Let's move on. So I feel like the more they talk together, oh, Negan saved me in the snow when I was out in that storm and saved Dog and saved obviously the hilltop and, put down Alpha and all this stuff. The more they talk, the more Negan is going to be somewhat sympathetic. Now, my theory is, and it's, again, unsubstantiated, I'm going to say this out loud, but there's something interesting in the idea of what if something was to befall Maggie? What if Maggie had cancer, let's say? Just throwing it out there. Something like that. This is something that I said about Negan, by the way. In update 13.1, Negan is dying. Listen to it right now. I'm going to put the thing in the thing. So I described Negan as dying. He needs to appoint or make a deal with Rick and then, transition them into some sort of cooperation, right? My theory is something must happen to Maggie or not, or she gets preoccupied or gets taken away like Rick or something like that. Commonwealth, CRM, Georgie, who gives a fuck? Herschel can't come with her. Herschel stays with Negan. Herschel becomes the shitbag he's meant to be because of Negan. But it's the kind of sweet, cool thing that maybe Negan's always wanted, to have a kid of his own. Maggie somehow bites it or gets taken away into the movies.
That's already making my stomach hurt, honestly. The thought of Negan around Glenn's kid is making me sick.
I hear you, but there's something also, like going back to what I said about the parable, change it up a little bit and say, you kill a man, you're responsible for his children, you're responsible for his family. You're responsible for what happens after that. Like, it's kind of like when you wage war, what's supposed to happen is the defeated country pays reparations or whatever it is, or whatever it used to be, or I don't know if that's the way it is now, but it's similar to that. Like, you wrecked Herschel's dad, you have to pay somehow. In the Bible, it says eye for an eye. But in Judaism, we learn, like, when you translate the Bible literally, the phrase is eye under an eye, which means an eye to replace an eye, which means it's not a like for like. It's like you can't literally pluck somebody's eye out and give it to somebody. What use is that to anybody? You have to pay in kind for the grievance, right? So this is one of those things. You are now responsible for this child's growth. You killed his dad. So there's this, again, I don't think it would be like it'd be more like a Judith situation. Like, so now how Judith was raised by the group, sort of, but mostly by Michonne. Michonne's her mother, whatever. Herschel's the same way, only, Herschel's kind of like the distant Michonne. Like, you could see Negan being like the father figure, because you've seen him, that part of him with Judith, with Carl, with Rick's kids, But the idea of him like making up for that in some meager way, Maggie hearing of this, and like I even said it that night on Twitter, I said, I'm borrowing this from Fear the Walking Dead season 6, but Negan blank is dead. You're dealing with somebody else now. And so what am I going to tell Herschel? Did he get what he deserved? Did he die? Did my father's killer die? She can say yes and leave it there, because he kind of did in a way when you think about it. And what's left behind is somebody that is trying to make up for it, like a Dwight.
I will be more on board with agreeing with that when Negan puts away the leather jacket. As long as I see the leather jacket, he's still saving
Negan be Neganing?
Negan be Neganing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when he finally puts the leather jacket away and stops talking about Lucille, then I'll know he's changed.
Yeah, I'm just laughing at what Sharon is saying.
Okay.
Oh, what a sweet little shitbag.
Oh, yeah.
But Rebecca Bunch is saying Negan teaches about nut tapping, bonding over walker rating. Walker rating, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ew, Negan in charge of a kid in general. What's Oga Foroga?
Oga Foroga. Eye for an eye.
Am I saying that wrong?
Yeah, no. It's Swedish? Question mark? It's from Umbrella Academy.
Oh, okay. As much as it breaks my brain, there is a kind of an exchange of some kind. Like, you did this. I know you're a different person, but you still have to do something about it. There has to be a reckoning of some kind. You may think that it happened in season 9. It didn't.
No.
There's
that
still
was just a pathetic puddle of mush. Are you talking about the Maggie and Negan scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
that was...
I say you may think it's that, but it's not. It's not.
No.
Nothing takes that away. I mean, the only thing we have left is the song, which is a Leonard Cohen cover, by the way. The artist is Anita Lester, and the song is You Want It Darker. It does go through like a kind of scripture thing. Again, this is what made me think of Pope, made me think of the religious leader thing. Just off of the heels of that explosion, finding Herschel, etc. I think back to that, I'm like, it can't be the Reapers. It feels like it's this religious cult leader, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but Leonard Cohen in this song is dealing with a lot here. A lot. He's dealing with God proportions struggle. So part of that is recognizing that even if it doesn't make sense that there's a loving God, how that loving God can still be cruel. Leonard's writing this in the twilight of his years. He's very old. So there's a sense of, I accept the God I've been given, but I still can question. I don't know if I like playing along with that, but maybe it's not for me to decide. Maybe I'm not smart enough to know this plan. So part of what he says in the song is like, you want it darker and we killed the flame. So like, you wanted the dark. So we did what you wanted. We turned out the flame, even though it was against, we need flame to survive. We need heat. We need so we did what you asked. So the idea of acceptance, like, okay, I am your servant. One of the words in the song is a Hebrew word, and he says this in like chorus. The word is hineni, means I am here I am. It's said a lot in the Old Testament when mortals are facing God, is like hineni. It repeats often in the Bible. It's not a usual word. It's a compound word that it's not often said. It's like sophisticated. I'm still your servant. Like, I don't claim to know you, but I'm here. And I'm hoping for that other part, that part that's loving, that, even though he has illusions of the Holocaust, he has illusions of Christ on the cross, he has, like, yes, I've seen you allow cruel things to happen. And it's never been more present than this episode. The idea of Negan getting to run roughshod on everybody, in the past at least. And then the interesting thing about him being around still and then coming back around to help people, to be kind, to be their savior, essentially the savior. Holy, I didn't think of that until now. Huh. Finally got to be what he wanted, even though it wasn't quite the way he, like Morgan said, it's not going to turn out the way you think it is.
Yeah.
I guess not. But if you stick around long enough, you might get what you need. There's a lover in the story, but the story's still the same. There's a lullaby for suffering, a paradox to blame, but it's written in the scriptures, and it's not some idle claim. Idle, IDOL. You want it darker, we killed the flame. You know, like I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to claim to know you, but I'm still your servant. And it comes back to Maggie. It's like finding her way back, and then all of a sudden realizing what this group made her feel in the beginning, like anything was possible, you know, whereas before it's just disappointment after disappointment, disappointment. Something about this group, listening to the song and finding out the meaning of these words really made me think about what Carol says in the next episode. You know, is our luck finally run out? Aging, we're getting older. Time is not being kind to us, you know. I've seen the past and what we've been through. I have also seen the kindness. I've seen the luck. Well, I'm still here. You know, I can't claim to know you, but I'm still here, so I must have done something right. You know, like that sort of thing. There's something about this song that really hits with this group. I mean, it's the end of The Walking Dead, the twilight years, the end of Leonard Cohen's life. So, but that's interesting though, right? And even I read an interview about this, and he goes, you know, I'm ready to go. It's like, you know, I get it. You know, I'm getting older. I've seen the breadth of humanity, what it's capable of, you know, and I think I'm ready to go. He has a follow-up interview after where he goes, you know, I may have just exaggerated about what I said. Like,
yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not ready to go just yet, which kind of makes this even funnier because it's like, okay, you want it darker. We put out the flame. So, like, I'm still following your orders. I kind of want to still live longer.
Right.
I'm okay with it. What is that thing? Why is that thing that makes us want to survive through this cruelty? Well, maybe it's not all that cruel. Maybe good things happen too.
The name of the song is You Want It Darker.
We not only put out the flame, we killed the flame.
Killed
It wasn't
it.
even a doubt. We did it, and then we there's another saying in the it's not in the Bible, but it's something. Actually, no, I think it is in the Bible. It's Na'aseh v'nishma. It means we do, and then we'll listen to the explanation.
Yeah.
Most people, when they ask you to do something, yeah, we didn't start the fire.
You see me dance.
God damn it! Yes. It's like, are you even paying attention?
Not really. Okay, now I am.
The idea of doing something before it's explained to you. Who does that? Jews do that. Apparently. But apparently that's the best way to learn. And when it comes to computers, that's how I learned how to do it. I just did it, and then I learned why it worked. A little later. Yeah. Not bad for our first episode back in quite a while. And it's a TWD episode. And how did we do?
We could have kept going. I mean, we could keep going for another 3 hours if I didn't have to work in the morning.
No. I'm okay. Yeah. So with that, everybody, if you think we did okay, leave a comment on this video. Rate us at ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and an eggplant is all we need for us to know that you love us, right? Did you miss that? I missed that. But if you want to write more, let us know. It's your means to communicate with us in the audio podcast. We need to hear from you. We need to know that you're listening. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating. We need to hear you. The metrics are telling me one thing, but I know it's something else. Tell us how we did in this episode, what you liked, what you didn't like, more than anything else. And hey, if you want to be a part of the next recording session, lending your insights like Rebecca Punch and Blazy Gardner did today, head over to ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. Follow us. That's it. Create an account and follow us. It's a means to get the behind the scenes content, the unedited episodes after we're done if you do miss the recording sessions. But if you can be around for the recording sessions, your voice will be heard and make us laugh all the time. Or not. You can be serious. It's fine. It's fine, right, girls? Yeah?
Sure. Sometimes we're serious.
Yeah, sometimes we go deep. ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. And, you know, if you throw us a coffee, you'll have 30 days of access to that behind-the-scenes content, of which, you know, we actually gave everybody the opportunity to download the intro music to this episode it's like 20 seconds long, but it's yours. And the background images for the website, the logo, things like that. I'm including more behind-the-scenes stuff and exclusive stuff, the things that we make for the website, for the podcast. I'm giving it to you guys because you guys support us. And I'm thinking of more things. Coffee.com/squawkingdead is going to be having tiers soon, so we'll get to do freebies. You know, these are things that we're working on. You're working on giving more back the more time moves on. So just follow us there. You'll get to know about the cool things as they happen that won't show up in social media more than anything else. You need to know that. These recording sessions only went out today because we wanted to remind people that The Walking Dead's back. We're recording The Walking Dead. You should follow. And if you want to get a coffee and be a part of the recordings, that would be great. It's just our duty to remind you. But we're not going to be posting our recording sessions on social media. So follow us there to know. Thank you, Rachel, for joining me today.
Always.
Thank you, Rebecca Punch. Thank you, Sharon D. You're not there. You're really there. We'll see you very soon to cover the very next episode of The Walking Dead, 1018. I don't know what the name is. Who gives a shit? It's the Karen Dow episode. We just kind of talked about it today. But I can't wait to see how it turns out. Huh? Ooh, spicy.
I'm excited. I'm here for the ride no matter what. It's going to be
Hell,
great.
That's the very definition of ride or die. And good night, folks. And bye. We haven't done that in a while.